Good morning, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother, who is wisdom, who is the Holy Spirit. Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. I pray that the Most High blesses this lesson today, gives us more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past in order to understand the events that are currently coming on the earth, so we better understand the events that are soon to be released on the earth as well. Saw this video of these phenomenon going on in the skies, and I had already had notes for a video a while ago, this video a while ago. But what happens a lot of times is the Most High kind of keeps me from making certain videos because he wants to add more information, more understanding. And that's exactly what he did with this video today. We're going to be talking about how we had our ship to shore experience. And this is what I mean by that. You know, the day that our enemies came from hell, the day that the Most High allowed the Gentiles to finally traverse the oceans and come over to our lands, and the significance of that, because we were well aware that we had made a covenant with the Most High, and it was explained in the book of Nephi and more in depth, okay? And I've talked about that many times, about how if we kept the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, that he would keep us separated, and he would bless us. And when you actually read about the blessings in Deuteronomy, most of them all revolve around the land. And the land is so important for us to be able to follow the Most High to the fullest. That separation is one of the most important things, to be holy and separated from the other nations that will influence us to do the wrong things. But we knew that we messed up. And how did we know? When you read I made a video on this a while ago, and you read in the Florentine Codex, Book 12, it discusses the omens that happened before the Most High allowed the Gentiles to come over. And these omens were going on for years. Okay? Let me read one of them. This is Book 12, page 1 of the Florentine Codex. Okay? First chapter, in which it is told how there appeared, how there were seen the signs, the omens of evil, before the Spaniards had come here to this land, before they were known to the natives here. So these are some of the omens. I'm just going to read this one right here. 10 years before the Spaniards arrived here, an omen an omen of evil first appeared in the heavens. It was like a tongue of fire, like a flame, like the light of dawn. It looked as if it were showering sparks, as if it stood piercing the heavens. It was wide at the base. It was pointed at the head, to the very midst of the sky. To the very heart of the heavens it stood reaching. To the very midpoint of the skies it stood stretched as it was seen. It was there to the east when it thus came. Forth at midnight it looked as if day had dawned, day had broken. Later the sun destroyed it when he arose. For a full year the sign came forth. It was in the year 12 house that it began. And when it appeared, there was shouting. There was a striking of the palm of the hand against the mouth. There was fear. There was inactivity. Okay. Another omen. I'm not going to read them all, because if I need to, what I'll do is I'll just leave I already went over these. I'll leave the link to this video in the description box. But another one would be a fourth evil omen. There was yet sun when a comet fell. It became 3 parts. It began there in the west, and it traveled there to the east, as if showering glowing coals. For a great distance it went, extending a tail. Far did his tail go reaching. and when it was seen, great was the outcry. It was as if the din of shell rattles was overspread. Okay. One of the main ones that we talked about before was definitely the weeping woman, which goes right back to a Baruch. Let's read that one. A sixth evil omen. Often was heard a woman going, weeping, going, crying out. Loudly did she cry out at night. She walked about saying, my beloved sons, now we are about to go. Sometimes she said, my sons, whither am I to take you? You know, she was like, they portrayed her as La Llorona, you know, weeping for her children that were, I think, drowned in the lake. But here it was an omen a long time ago that was happening before. Because if you read in Baruch about the woman crying for her children because they were going to be taken into captivity, these are the omens that were going on here. And that's why a lot of this information is hidden. Because, you know, history is written from the victor's point of view. And they didn't want you to know that the Most High was already giving omens to the people before they arrived about the death and destruction that was on its way. So you could imagine how these brothers right here must have felt when they saw these ships approaching our shores. These things hadn't happened before because we had made a covenant with the Most High. But he was already warning us years before that he was going to bring judgment on our people for what they were doing. So this here was our ship to shore moment. Fast forward now a few hundred years. And now that we're coming to the end of our punishment, there's going to be another ship to shore moment. But it's not coming for us this time. This ship to shore moment is going to be worldwide. And the Most High is already giving the other nations a little taste of their omens of destruction. And that's what we're going to be looking at a little bit today. You know, and this is why he's waking up his true men who are supposed to lead the nation. He's showing you, he's showing all the nations who they're supposed to be listening to and who they're supposed to be following. He's showing the whole world who they're supposed to be supporting. Because, like I said, for all these years, we've been lied to about absolutely everything. We've been lied. I mean, the more we read and more we study, the more we realize how deep Psalms 83 and them, all the nations consulting together to make the name of Israel no more. We're seeing how deep this is. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. Every time you open up a book or start to read something, now you got to look at every single thing that we've been taught with a microscope. So now, you know, as the Gentiles try to keep everybody looking everywhere else but to the truth, they're about to have their ship to shore moment. But theirs ain't going to look like this. It's going to look a little something like this. Israel shall be saved. You see these chariots in this picture. But now you're seeing this phenomenon is actually happening more and more. The governments are admitting to these unidentified flying objects. And there was actually a great story, which we're actually going to we're going to listen to it, about one phenomenon that actually, I mean, it just pretty much shows you the Most High is giving an absolute huge sign that our time of affliction is coming to an end. And the Most High is getting ready to redeem his people. But like I said, their ship to shore moment is going to be worldwide. And the Most High is going to show out this time, where everyone's going to know exactly what's going on. And see, that's why this awakening is so very important. This awakening is now showing you where we really are as far as a biblical prophecy is concerned. You know, we know now that we were enslaved on our own land. We know now that the Most High allowed the Gentiles to come over here. He actually sent a spirit to lead Columbus over here to the fourth part of the world. He knew that we had broken our covenant. He was showing us what he was going to do when we broke our covenant. He's showing us now the understanding of the statue in the book of Daniel, and the legs and the iron of the two legs of iron were for the destruction of the two tribes predominantly by the Roman Empire. Then the Most High went ahead and allowed, after we broke the covenant with the 10 tribes broke the covenant, he brought the iron over here to mingle with the clay, which would be the 10 tribes. And that was right there. That shows you that we were at the end. And now we're having this phenomenon of these ships showing up all over the world. He's giving them their omens. He's showing them these things, and a lot of people don't want to look at it, but that's okay. He's been showing us by the blood moons, showing us these eclipses, especially this last one that has so many different parallels and so many things hidden when it went across the United States. And then 7 years later, it's going to go back over and form an X. Right? Over, I want to say, Little Egypt, or a place called Makanda. I said there's all these signs that are now happening. And he's raising up his men now to be able to give much more clarity and bringing now the two sticks together, bringing the records of the southern kingdom together with the records of the northern kingdom in order for us to get an understanding from the beginning to the end. And he's shown us that we cannot get that correct understanding without marrying the two sets of records. He's shown us, just like in the last video, about how the Anglos are becoming obsolete because they were made to be the hammer. And when the problems that are now facing our world don't require a hammer anymore, that group of people is now obsolete, which then goes back to scripture. The clay being formed, some people of honor, some of dishonor. He did it only because he wanted to show his love to his people at the end. So like I said, we're now waiting for the other nations' ship to shore moment. And he's giving you so many omens now that when these chariots do show up, they're going to know exactly why. The Most High doesn't let us, the things happen and not warn us first. He warned us with our prophets. Our prophets came and warned us many times about what was going to happen. And we didn't listen. So you think the Most High is going to do any less to the Gentiles? He's not going to warn them. You're just going to have just one day all these ships just show up. And no one understands why? No, he's going to release his spirit. He's going to release his men to tell the truth. And he's going to show the people how the ones that he's already ordained to be saved, how they can be saved, who they need to be following. They need to be following the Most High of Israel. And then the Israelites need to be the ones that show them how to do it. And that goes for the Israelites as well as the chosen Gentiles. That's what's going on right now. So now we're sitting here waiting for the ship to shore moment worldwide. But this story, what I'll do is I'll leave the link just for this one, and it's from Mr. MB33 or something like that, MBBB33. I'll leave the link for his video in the description box so you can see it. But I guess something showed up in Yosemite, but I don't want to concentrate on that part. What I want to see is this other ship, and I'm going to show you guys some of the pictures while you guys are listening to this short clip. Okay, let's see here. It was like a wheel in the sky, and this, if you can see it to the right, this is what it looked like right here. So let me go ahead and play this video. You guys can listen.
National Park, actually near Bass Lake in Yosemite National Park. This next observation was sent in by Chris from Belgium. He noticed something very unique on a sky cam in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I'm describing this as a wheel in the sky. Look at that. Chris from Belgium sent this in. This was on September 22nd. The object you just saw from Yosemite was September 23rd. Look at that. There's 12 different points of light. I don't know what this is right here.
12 points of light. You don't think the Most High is giving signs right now? 12 tribes of Israel awakening. 12 tribes of Israel coming back together. 12 tribes of Israel bringing their records together. 12 points of light. 12 gates of heaven. 12,000 from 12 tribes to make up the 144,000. So the Most High don't play. Most High is giving plenty of signs right now. But now it's up to our people to interpret them and share this information with the world so they know the truth and understand that their ship to shore moment is very close. Let me continue.
Here's the panoramic view at the bottom. The normal view at the top, facing south. Looks like a huge wheel in the sky. I don't know how else to describe it. And then there's some sort of an object next to it on the right. So, just again, one of those that's too good not to share, guys. I don't know what we've got here. I don't think it's a random reflection. It wouldn't be uniquely uniform like it is with 12 independent points of light that are in a nearly perfect circle. It's kind of hovering in the sky. If I'm not mistaken, this was around 2:30. It said 7 something universal time, which equated over here to like 2:35 Central Daylight Time. So I'm assuming this is during the overnight hours. And that light that we saw was probably the moonlight. So I don't know what we've got going on here, guys. Great observation by Chris out of Belgium. Here it is, basically inverted into not a black and white format. This is a negative format. I was looking for possibly surface features on maybe a round object, but I couldn't find anything. All I could see was the 12 points of light in a perfectly round circle. New sky phenomena, and I'm working on many more.
Okay. So 12 points of light in a perfect circle in the sky. You don't think that's a ship to shore moment right here? You don't think these are some more signs that the Most High is giving us to share with the people? You know, people have to understand what's going on. They have to understand that there's going to be payback and ramifications for their blessing. Yes, we were given to the hands of the Gentiles. Yes, they were given dominion over the people. And what did our people do? See, in history, they write it like when the Spaniards got here, that the Native Americans just bowed down to them because they were so afraid of their technological advancements and the power that they had. And Esau always taking credit for things that he didn't have, shouldn't be taking credit for. That he was just so strong and so powerful that the millions and millions of Aztecs just laid down and didn't want to fight. That's what you read in history books. But see, like the Most High had already softened us up, already warned us. We were already having dreams, and they already saw Cortez and the Spaniards and their horses coming. They already knew what to expect. So we were being obedient and just taking our punishment the best way we could, because we already knew that we can't fight against the Most High's will. When the Most High says something, that's what's going to happen. And there's no fighting it. But see, these Gentiles, they're trying to hide it. They're trying to hide what's going on from everybody, so that when they do show up, their ship to shore moment shows up, they're going to try to fight it. And there's no fighting against the Most High. If the Most High ordains it, that's what's going to happen. If you want to know what's going to happen to you, look at what's happened to us. That's just how it is. We were your example on what not to do. We're your example of what punishment awaits you if you don't listen to the Father. And now we're the ones who have been awakened to tell you, don't do what we did if you know what's good for you. So this was our ship to shore moment right here. Their ship showed up. You got the conquistadors, you got the priests, and you got their dogs. Just like it talks about in Jeremiah. And they brought death with them. So this is their, like I said, this is our ship to shore right here. Okay. So when you guys were given your blessing, you took a lot of this blessing and you internalized it and gave yourself this feeling of supremacy. And you were supreme for a time. But you seem to think that this is going to go on forever. It was only going to go as long as our sentence, okay, was in effect. Now that sentence of destruction is coming to an end. A sister sent me this picture right here, and I actually wanted to make a correction. On the last video I did about the with Trump on the cover, talking about angles being obsolete. It was actually a sister who sent me that. I wasn't sure who it was. I probably shouldn't have just assumed it was a brother, because it was actually a very well-informed, very smart sister who actually sent me that. And I wanted to make sure I apologize for that and let you guys know that it was actually one of the sisters that actually sent me that article. And thank you so much. I take knowledge and understanding from everywhere. I don't believe that the Most High only gives knowledge and understanding to us men. He gives it to us, to the sisters as well. And then they bring it, and we work together, and we share it together. So I deal with a lot of very, very sharp sisters who really share information with me, support me, and it's a beautiful thing, and that's the way it should be. I says us Israelites need to work together. It says we need to know who our enemy is, and that's going to be a video that I'm going to do later on. It says we are not each other's enemy, the men and the women, but they made it that way, so that we're fighting with one another while they sit back and just watch and let us destroy ourselves. So the enemy is very cunning, and he wants to make sure, like everything, he wants to make sure that we don't realize who's the one that's doing the damage to our people. He does that with the heads of these states. He makes you think it's just America. He does, so you don't think it's the abominable church. And the abominable church is the one who actually has been controlling everything. So he makes it so that our men and women fight with one another, look at each other with an evil eye, looking sideways at each other. But that's all part of the curses. But that's another video for another time in the near future. But let me go ahead. I also wanted to apologize. I gave credit to one of the men, one of the brothers, and it actually wasn't one of the brothers that actually gave me that article. It was actually one of the sisters that did. And I wanted to make sure I said thank you again to her, and I already talked to her as well. Okay, thank you. And please continue to share. Check this out. Another sister sent me this right here. The creator of the Confederate flag, in his own words: as a people, we are fighting to maintain the heaven-ordained supremacy of the white man over the inferior or colored race. And they said it was never about equality with these people. It was always about them enjoying their time of supremacy. Doing some studies even on that Dred Scott case, and how, even with that case, they were letting us know that we were never meant to be equal in this country. We were never meant to have equal rights in this country. And I was actually in that Dred Scott case. That's exactly what was going on. That's what was shown to our people. Okay, so they had their time. Like I said, that ship to shore moment was them being brought over here to get their time of supremacy. And that's what they got. That was their blessing. That was the Edomite blessing. That was a Gentile blessing for Esau and the Gentiles to rule the world. So as the guy said right here, as a people, we are fighting to maintain the heaven-ordained supremacy of the white man over the inferior or colored race. As we go back closer to when their ships barely touched our shores, they were much more willing to tell you the truth. They were willing to tell you how they felt that this was a God-ordained, heaven-ordained time of white supremacy. And they were right. It was. Most High ordained it because we messed up, and he gave them their time. I hope you enjoyed it. It wasn't going to be like this forever. That's what you didn't tell all the other people. That's the lie that the top 1% to the top Edomites didn't tell everybody else. hey, yeah, we're going to be on top, but yeah, it's only going to be for a few hundred years. And then we're going to have to go back. We're going to have to pay for everything that we did. Yeah, they forgot to tell you that part. That's why they made a religion that says, oh, no, we're going to be on top. And then if we mess up, just say Jesus, and then we're good. Just say Jesus, he'll forgive all your sins. So that then you could continue to treat our people like garbage. And then at the end say, hey, Jesus, and you're good. We could all go into heaven together, hand in hand, equal. Well, when you had your heaven, we weren't equal. So I have no idea why you seem to think that when your heaven's over with, we're still going to be equal. I said, Jesus is a hell of a drug. I said, why Jesus? I mean, like I said, at this point, it was like you just gotta laugh. Like you really still believe that? I said, these pastors aren't teaching you anything. These priests aren't teaching you anything. I said, you're gonna learn more in 20 or 30 minutes with the true Hebrews than you've learned your entire life in a church. I said, and if it's in your spirit, it's going to resonate with you. And you're going to connect with these people who are telling you this truth. And instead of fighting it, you're going to follow. You're going to fall in line and do what the Most High tells you to do. Just like we did when we had our shift to shore moment. Did we fight it when they showed up? Nah. We were nice to them because we already know you can't fight against the Father. If he says this is what's going to happen to you and get in line and just take it, that's your only option. So if you think that, you had your ship to shore moment, you had your time of white supremacy, you had your time of world dominance, and then at the end you get to just say, hey, Jesus, that's my Jesus. I'm going to pull my Jesus card, and I'm going to be able to just walk away from all of the stuff that happened in the past to God's chosen people. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. White Jesus has been the hell of a drug that's been, just pushed on everyone. I'm going to get into some more stuff because, like I said, they just push white Jesus into everything because it had to have been white people that did everything. And that you black people haven't done anything. But we know that's not true. So now, this is what you guys are waiting for. This is what we're waiting for. The Most High to crack those skies open and send those chariots in. So that's what would be your time for your ship to shore moment worldwide because we're scattered to the four corners. That's why the guy said, wow, look at this. Look at these lights. 12 lights. What does that mean? Why are there just 12 lights in a perfect circle? That's weird. I don't know what that means. Yeah. Come on now. Most High not playing. He's showing everybody what's up. He's giving knowledge is increasing. I mean, just at a rapid pace. The puzzle pieces are coming together. And now it's all starting to make sense. So as your shift to shore moment comes closer and closer, Gentiles, what are you going to do? Are you going to fall on your knees and ask the Most High for forgiveness? Are you going to do what it is that he tells you to do? Like our people did when your people showed up on our shores? Or are you going to fight the Father? Are you going to fight still against his people? Or are you going to bless them so that the Most High can bless you? This is the only way that Genesis 12 works. That we had to be put into a position where, and it talks about that in the Book of Mormon, how the Most High had to bear his arm. And when he says that he bared his arm, he's talking about he put his kids, his children at the bottom and spread them all over the world. So that this time, when they awaken, you have your opportunity to either bless them or curse them. Either you're going to accept this truth and bless his people, or you're going to reject this truth and curse his people. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother, who was wisdom, who was the Holy Spirit. Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.